What's going on, guys? Sloshy Joshy back with another YouTube video. Double upload day. We got two today, so this is the second one, obviously. Getting ready to watch my Commanders on Thursday night. Pumped. Should be a good game against the Packers. But anyway, we're going over the quarterbacks and the tight ends today. So top 20 quarterbacks is what we usually start with. I like to do 20. Just I know it's kind of you know, uh, more than the average, I guess, for quarterbacks. But just in case some of you guys are running like double quarterback leagues or whatever, um, I want to be able to provide. So Josh Allen, as you saw in the thumbnail, or not the thumbnail, I guess the first slide, um, he's number one. I mean, is this really a question? The dude is just a fantasy god. What did he run for two and run and throw three or something like that against the Ravens? I can't even keep up with the guy, but that was just an insane game. Um, and he gets a Jets defense that just let Aaron Rodgers throw four. So I love him again this week. So he's my number one quarterback. Joe Burrow have a huge bounce back game against the Jaguars. Been talking about how I think this game's gonna be a shootout all week. I think Joe Burrow's throwing like 2, 3 plus touchdowns. So put him at two. Lamar Jackson, I have him at three. Uh, let's see. I'm blanking on who the Ravens are playing. Oh, the Browns, right? Yeah, so is it just a Bengals kryptonite, or is the Browns defense legit? I guess we'll see uh, against Lamar and the Ravens. Expect the Ravens to win pretty good, but you never know. Could be close, just like the Bengals Browns game just was. But still, like Lamar Jackson's probably a top five fantasy quarterback every week. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really matter the matchup, just with his legs and how good that Ravens team is. He's going to be a top option usually. Similar to the next guy up, Jaden Daniels. So he is starting tonight. Um, they're playing a tough Packers defense. It's true, but it's a good team. Um, and I think it's going to be a good game. I think Jaden's going to get some work on the ground. He's going to, do some rushing like he does. He'll, throw one or two. And yeah, I think he's going to have a good game overall. So I like him this week. Hopefully he looks better than Goff out there. But we have him at four. Number five, I have Jalen Hurts. He's playing the Chiefs, so it is a tough defense. Um, but you can't put Hurts any lower than like 7 or 8 just because of the push factor, man. It's just always there. And that is just so good for fantasy. So I know in a lot of leagues, if you throw a touchdown now, it's four. That's like a newer thing, I think, but I've noticed that in the last few years. That's kind of the new scoring. If you throw, it's four, and if you rush, it's six. So those tush pushes, that's a couple extra points. 6 points for, a QB sneak. And he's going to get 10 plus a year. So Jalen Hurts is always going to be up there. It is a tough matchup at Chiefs. So if you have anyone else on this page, I may think about it over Hurts, but usually I'm saying Hurts is a must start every week. Kyler Murray, same deal, just got the legs. We'll see if they can put up some more points this week. They have a really good matchup against the Panthers, so Kyler should be able to go off this weekend. So really like him this week, and against the Panthers. Obviously, Panthers probably, if not the worst team in the NFL, pretty dang close to it. So Kyler should have a good day. Justin Fields at 7. So this guy shot up my board. I expected him to run a bit. I didn't expect this. So he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Was it 2 passing or 1 passing? I can't remember. I think 1 passing and 2 rushing. Still amazing fantasy wise. Was a top 10 finish. I think he was a top 5 finish actually. But regardless, I have him against the Bills. We saw what Lamar just kind of did to the Bills. Now the Ravens just absolutely died in the fourth quarter for some reason, but for the first 3 quarters of the game, the Ravens were pretty much controlling the game. They were running well. Um, Lamar was running well, so Justin Fields should be able to run well. Bills' defense was not there, so I think Justin Fields takes advantage of it. That Jets offense should be fun to watch this year. Trevor Lawrence, I have at 8. Again, to talk about that shootout against the Bengals. Bengals don't have a great defense. Trevor Lawrence, should be able to, put up some points with his talent he has around him. Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne is kind of the go-to guy now after that Bigsby trade. And then Brenton Strange. So Trevor Lawrence got 8. Herbert, I have at 9. Obviously, you can't deny that week 1 performance. There's been a lot of reports this week saying that they are looking to throw the ball more. So Justin Herbert, that was kind of like one of my red flags going into the season, was that the Chargers like to run, Harbaugh likes to run. But we're kind of seeing like rookie year Herbert, just let him sling the freaking rock, man. And they just beat the Chiefs. So really like Justin Herbert. Have him at 9. Number 10, I have Dak Prescott. So he didn't throw a touchdown against the Eagles. His stats weren't that bad. He had a couple massive drops from CD and other receivers too. Honestly, he had a lot of drops against the Eagles. But I think Dak has a bounce back game. They're playing the Giants, so should be able to put up some points. A weak secondary there in New York. So that's my first top 10. And let's go on the next page. So 11, I have Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is kind of slipping right now just because of all the injuries he's dealing with, right? I mean, he has Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's Kelsey still, but just taking hits left and right. Lost Worthy, lost Rice, so his weapons are taking a beating. So we'll see how he handles it. But I have him at 11 for now. Number 12, I have Baker Mayfield. He is playing a really good defense. That's why I have him out of the top 10. I'm usually a Baker stan in fantasy, but I still love his upside, right? He's Mike Evans, Igbuka is for real, right? He came onto the scene week 1, so we know that guy's legit. He's getting Godwin back soon. I don't know when, but that's just another great target in the slot. Bucky Irving's in the receiving game, Shaun White. So they have a great offense. We'll see how that stacks up against the Texans defense Monday night. Number 13, I have Bo Nix. Broncos looked kind of flat on offense. At least Bo Nix did. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say it was an off game, a little rusty. They got the Colts, who are coming off a big win against the Dolphins. So 2 1-0 teams going at it. Broncos defense is obviously great. I do think the Broncos are going to edge out the Colts here. And I think Bo Nix has a good game. 14 is Jordan Love playing the Washington Commanders on Thursday night, tonight. Had a great game against the Lions. Now, the Lions had a bad pass defense last year, so that wasn't really a surprise that Love was balling out. I do think the Commanders have a little bit of a better defense. However, I do think, with their speed, with Josh Jacobs establishing the run, we'll see what happens. I think Jordan Love's going to have a good game. I think that game is just going to be good overall. 15, I have Caleb Williams, who is taking on the Lions. So kind of what I was just talking about. Jordan Love just diced the Lions up. So I like Caleb Williams this week against a Lions defense that looks lost against the pass right now. Number 16, I have Drake May against the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are a garbage fire if I've ever seen one. Drake May, I think the Patriots win this game. I don't know if I can pick the Dolphins the rest of the year, dude, after what I just watched against the Colts. I like Drake May a lot with his rushing upside. Seems to have some rapport with Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry. I think they all had a similar workload. Henderson got 6 catches out of the backfield. So they got something cooking in New England. I mean, it might be another year or 2 away, but I see the progression. I see the progression in New England. And I think they're maybe a draft or 2 away from being a serious team. But for now, I got him at 16. Jared Goff at 17. So he's playing the Bears defense. Vikings just came back pretty hard, but the Bears defense looked pretty good, and the Bears defense was banged up. The Bears had both their starting corners out, Gordon and Johnson. So I don't know if they're coming back or not. I'd have to look into that, but the Bears do have a good defense. Now Jared Goff should have a better week than last week. I mean, it can't get much worse. So hopefully that happens. I have it in 17. 18, I have Michael Penix Jr. Really impressed me, actually. He almost had 300 yards against the Buccaneers defense, which, they're not shut down by any means, that Bucks defense, but looked really good for his first start of 2025. Has a good connection with Kyle Pitts in London, and I mean, God, Bijan had 100 receiving yards too. So if they can just keep working that offense the way they are, they'll win some games. They got unlucky this one. Young Hoku missed a bad field goal, but um, I like them against the Vikings, and that's the Sunday night game, so that one should be a fun watch. 19 have Daniel Jones. Can't not give him a top 20 nod after what we just saw. Two rushing touchdowns, uh, which is awesome in fantasy, right? So 19, Daniel Jones has the rushing upside, and he's getting a Broncos defense, which is tough. So this is kind of the big test, right? Was Week 1 a fluke, or are the Colts legit this year? So I guess we'll see. And then 20 have Geno Smith. Just with, I mean, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Genty. He's got a good little, some good little weapons there in I almost said Oakland, bro. That's crazy. That's showing my age. It's like way before my time, even though I think they've always been either Vegas or I don't know. No, they were Oakland. I'm tripping. Never mind. Whatever. I'm rambling. Geno's my 20 though. Especially if Brock plays. He may jump up a couple spots, but Brock is questionable right now, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, so that was it for quarterbacks. Now we're moving on to tight ends. Speaking of Brock Bowers, there he is, and he is my number one tight end. So he is questionable. All signs point to him playing, but keep an eye on it, obviously, as we do with any injured player in football. Keep an eye on his practice today and Friday, and we'll get a clear sign going into the weekend. Trey McBride is my number two. Those are probably the top two tight ends most of the weeks, unless there's like a really juicy matchup. But like both those guys, just with the volume they get. Brock Bowers had 5 catches for over 100 yards in the I think a little over the first half. It was like the third quarter. He got hurt and left the game and didn't come back. Just crazy. I mean, the dude's a beast. Laporta had a really good game. He was one of the bright sides of that Lions game against the Packers. Um, 6 catches, 79 yards. I mean, it's not for tight end. That's a good game. 6 catches, 79 yards. It's going to be 13.9 fantasy points, so can't complain about that from your tight end. But expect him to have a better game this game. Worse defense, so expect some more points there. Tyler Warren came onto the scene, like I've been telling you guys all off season. I mean, it's not really a hot take. He was the number one tight end, but um, yeah, dude arrived. 7 catches, 76 yards on 9 targets. Most targeted player on the Colts. So I really like Tyler Warren moving forward. Kind of shot up in my top 5, but love the guy. Love the way he plays. So big on that. Travis Kelce only had 2 catches week 1, which was kind of odd, especially with the injuries and everything. So I think this week is going to be very telling. If I see Kelce get less than 5 targets again for a second week in a row, I'm going to hit the panic button. But for now, I'm giving him a top 5 chance again. He's playing the Eagles. Should be, juicy little Super Bowl revenge game. Kelce and Mahomes. So we'll see what happens there. But I like Kelce in my top 5. All right, and then we have the B tier. So 6 through 12. Kyle Pitts, number 6. Had a good week 1 as well. Looks like Pitts owners may finally have something to celebrate. Out of Atlanta, looks like they got a quarterback who can actually get him the ball now. He had 7 catches for 59 yards on 8 targets. So, that's good work. 7 catches from a tight end is awesome work, and we love to see it. TJ Hawkinson I have at 7. This game was just weird, kind of, because the Vikings were like off the first half. They were running the ball. They weren't really passing much. Um, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird, to be honest. Um, and then Hawkinson only had 3 catches for 15 yards on 4 targets, so not like crazy output. This is another one where if he gets less than 5 targets, I might have to hit the panic button. You know, I don't know. We'll see. They looked very run heavy, and that could have been a, McCarthy's first start. Let's just get him warmed up kind of thing. Take some pressure off of him. But we're gonna have to keep an eye on Hockenson because we may have to hit the panic button if he gets less than 5 targets again. But I like him at 7. He's still a great tight end. Good option. Number 8, I like that. I got Dallas Goedert. This guy had a quiet week 1 that no one really talked about. 7 catches on 7 targets, so perfect. The most targeted receiver for Philadelphia, 7 catches, 44 yards. Obviously, you want more yards there, but it's still 11.4 fantasy points. So if you're getting 10 plus from your tight end, it's a solid day. Hunter Henry, number 9. Good chemistry with Drake May, it seemed. 1 second, I'm getting on. All right. Good chemistry with Drake May, it seemed. He was tied for the most targeted receiver with Kayshon Boutte at 8 apiece. Hunter Henry did lack on the execution. He got 8 targets, but only 4 catches, so that's 50% of targets. Obviously, you want that number to be higher. But he did get 16 yards. Or, sorry, he got 66 yards. He was averaging 16.5 catch. So that's good volume. 8 targets is pretty promising. Him, Diggs, and Boutte and Henderson seemed to be like the 4 guys. Everyone else had like 1 or 2 targets. Wow. Look at this at the bottom. Demario Douglas, 7 targets, 2 catches, -2 yards, and a touchdown. Has that ever happened? -2 yards and a touchdown. That's crazy. I've honestly, I'm kind of geeking over that. I've never seen that. I'm gonna have to make a tweet about that or something. That's funny. That's hilarious. I don't know how I missed that, but Hunter Henry, definitely getting the volume, getting targets. So Drake May seems to trust him. 8 targets is great. So as long as you see him that volume, those numbers will go up. That he's not going to go 50% or less, every week. That's probably just a fluky thing. Number 10, I have Jake Ferguson. He had 5 catches for 23. So again, very little yards per catch there at 4.6. He had 6 targets, so he was the second most targeted receiver on the team. Even more than Pickens. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb's the alpha there. He got 13 targets, but Ferguson should get some good work. I like him against the Giants for sure. It's a good matchup. So number 11, Juwan Johnson, the tight end 1 of week 1. How about that? Saints tight end Juwan Johnson. There's a lot to like, with Juwan Johnson. So let me read the stat line. So 8 catches for 76 yards on 11 targets. So second most targeted receiver on the Saints. Olave was first with 13. But 8 of 11, that's telling me that Rattler really likes Juwan Johnson and he's looking to his tight end a lot. And that's common with young quarterbacks that need a safety blanket. They look to their tight end a lot. Juwan Johnson was the number 1 tight end. Tied, I think, with who did he tie with? Bowers. He tied with Brock Bowers for tight end 1 of week 1, but I mean, that's awesome. And he was a fantasy ad of mine. I picked him up in a lot of my leagues, actually. I think he's a good tight end to have. New Orleans not great, right? The Saints aren't great. Rattler's not great, to be honest. But that tight end is a safety net of those young quarterbacks. So even if they switch over to Blau, whatever his name is, any time of the season, I expect Johnson to still be kind of that safety net. And you're looking at a positive game strip for most games, right? The Saints aren't going to be winning a lot of games, so they're going to be throwing a lot. So Juwan Johnson, I do like, and I'm putting him at 11 this week. Against who's he playing this week? The 49ers, yeah. So not the best matchup, but again, like I've been talking, I'm not gonna repeat myself. He's a good game strip, good option. Number 12, Dalton Kincaid. So he put up a touchdown week 1. He gets the Jets this week. So do like that matchup. Obviously they just let up 4 passing touchdowns against the Steelers. I'm trying to find. I'm sorry. Bear with me. Here we go. So Dalton Kincaid only had 4 targets, but he converted all 4 for 48 yards and a touchdown. So, we want the targets to go up this week for sure. So I do want to watch that. We had Josh Palmer with 9, Khalil Shakur with 9, Coleman with 11. So was that 29 targets going to wide receivers, 5 to James Cook. Those guys all out targeted Kincaid. So don't love that, but I do think that he's going to get more in the mix this week against the Jets. So, like I'm seeing here, that's the top 12. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it and bearing with me. But like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Good luck this weekend in week 2.